Good morning, YouTube viewers and subscribers, PTS members and profitable PTS traders. Matt Brown here, coming to you live from downtown Manly with a bit of a market scan. Going to look at what's been happening in the markets. Trump has absolutely thrown a wrecking ball. Again, what is he doing at the end of every week? Talking about putting massive tariffs on the EU. So in just a general speech that he was giving, he was asked by one of the journalists what his plans are with the EU. He then went on to say something along the lines of, I love the EU, I love all the countries in the EU, but they've been ripping us off by our market or our annual deficit with that particular country, and he's planning to put blanket tariffs on all of Europe of 25%. He's particularly aiming at the car industry and then also on their foods that they import. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. We thought we'd put the bottoms in yesterday. Looks like no, that didn't occur. We all had all good news coming out from Nvidia. I traded the bounce off that news yesterday morning, and but like always, the bad news comes out, and we see basically all markets in terms of the Nasdaq, the S&P. All ordinaries in Australia are going to open down. We're seeing a market capitulation across the board. And one of the biggest people getting hurt at the moment is ETFs. So all of the people who have invested via ETFs, so these are going to be like the newbie people into the crypto industry, are getting absolutely wrecked. So if you had invested or bought into your ETF a week ago, a month ago, 3-4 months ago, then what's happening, you've seen your actual asset reduce in price by 25%. And so unless you've been in crypto and you're a bit of a crypto native and you understand that even in a bull market cycle, you will see market declines of 25 to 30% to 40% as the market consolidates and then continues to head further north, then you're not going to be used to this type of volatility. And that's where you can see on this chart here, huge amounts of liquidations or ETF selling coming in here. So all those newbie investors are getting absolutely wrecked. And so Glassnode put out a really great article or X post and saying so who's losing the most amount of money? And the people who've bought in between February 25th and February 27th, so the last couple of days, have lost $2.1 billion. And these are realized losses. So what that means is that people, so this is all coming from on-chain analysis, investors bought 2 or 3 days ago, and then they have then sold their positions yesterday or today, and they have a net losses of $2.1 billion. And so when we're thinking about this big bull run and why alt season isn't occurring, there's 2 primary reasons that I think that is causing those 2 things. And one of the main ones is that retail investors, new money, younger money, has been playing in the meme coin casino, and they've been getting absolutely wrecked via rug pulls. So all of that liquidity, all of that capital has been sucked out of the market and has been going to nefarious actors. What I also think is that the typical rotation of people putting money into Bitcoin having a big rally, and then people taking their profits out of Bitcoin and then rolling those into their altcoins isn't occurring. People are still trying to plow their money into Bitcoin, and we're not seeing that rotation that we've expected from the prior runs in the market. And this is where I guess you need to be looking at the difference between your spot holdings and your trading capital. So we trade to generate income, and what we do with that income is we fund our lifestyle once we've achieved economic security, or we then use this a new capital that we've generated from trading profits to then buy more spot holdings and hold those over the long term. This is a really terrible chart, which is basically just showing people who have invested in the last couple of weeks are being absolutely wrecked. And this is the breakdown of that $2 billion in terms of how long those people have held. So between a week and a day, nearly $1 billion, and then the last 24 hours. So, people have bought in once they see the bounce, they're buying in at that top of the bounce, saying, oh, the rally is back on, but we're having another sell-off, and the market has sold off really, really aggressively. Come and join us over at Finsightful Wealth. We have a school community, and in that community, we have posts like this. I put a post up, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I basically went through and I alerted our members that Nvidia was going to be having their earnings report. And then from that earnings report, we should see a bounce. So we'd already seen the bottom put in, and we had some sort of some green candles coming through from the chart. And then I sort of said to everybody that the RSI is telling us that the market is really, really, really oversold on both the 1 hour, well, on all the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily charts. The market was really, really oversold. So my thought was that when Nvidia announces at 5 p.m. US time, if they come out with really good results, then that is going to be the news or the catalyst for the market to continue to head further north. And so this is what I posted. This was the chart. This is what I sort of said. We've also got Bitcoin down right smack bang in the middle of that golden buying zone. So between the 50% fib or the 0.5 fib and the 0.618. So all of these things were sort of telling me or giving me an indication that the market was going to head north yesterday. And I got into the members and myself got into a really great BTC trade through there. This is just about, so people are coming out yesterday or this morning basically saying that Bitcoin could hit 500K. That's my market analysis, well, that's my expectation in this particular bull run, somewhere between 300 and 500,000. When that's going to be, sometime in the next 8 to 24 months. But if the market continues to consolidate or sell off like we currently are, this could be a pipe dream. And this stomach churning volatility. So at the top of the article, we're talking about Bitcoin hitting 500K. And then in the article, we're basically talking about how people are getting absolutely wrecked through the volatility. And every time Trump says anything about tariffs, it's really putting a lot of animosity and negative sentiment into all growth assets. So growth assets in terms of publicly traded equities, and then also into the crypto asset class. Cybercrime, $51 billion. This is crazy. On-chain analysis has been looking at how much criminals have been making or stealing from us, and it's something like $51 billion in 2024. We have never seen theft like this in any asset class ever before. It's absolutely crazy. And this is why I think you're going to see a lot of regulation come in through the US that's going to look at trying to stop this. And the difficulty here is that what's happening now is if you want to transfer fiat into crypto, a lot of the banks in Australia just won't allow you to do it. They've banned or blocked a lot of the BSB codes that the big DEXs are using, or the centralized exchanges actually, the CEXs, that's CEX. And so it's now becoming more difficult for you to get your fiat onto a platform. Then once you then transfer that fiat into either USDT or BTC or ETH or SOL or whatever it is, the issue that you then have is you then can't transfer it off those particular platforms without going through even more rigorous checks. And a lot of them have sort of 7 to 10 day delays from when you open an account to then allowing you to actually take the money off. And the reasoning for that is because there are a lot of nefarious actors who are scamming people who are sort of saying, hey, invest in this coin, it's going to go up 1,000%. Just transfer your money from your bank account across into ABC centralized exchange, and then buy USDT and then transfer it to this wallet, and I'll pay you, or you'll get 1,000 return, or whatever it is. There's a lot of scams of people literally like sitting on a phone call and actually walking people through how to actually buy crypto, and then what they're doing is they're stealing that from them. So everyone, it's having an impact on everyone. long and shorts. So the market is significantly short. So the ratio here is that we have a lot of shorts coming into the market, and you would expect that in the current conditions. I'll have a look at a chart in a second. Liquidity heat map. So BTC, we're seeing a lot of liquidations come through in both BTC and ETH, 57 million in the last hour. So I think even in the last 24 hours, it's $170 million have been liquidated in ETH. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, when you're thinking about investing, you should be taking the Warren Buffett approach with your spot holdings. And so what I mean by that is you want to be buying when everybody else is selling. You don't want to be buying at all-time highs. You don't want to be looking at filling up your moon bags when the market is absolutely tearing away. Now, that's not to say that you can't dollar cost average in at those particular times. Yes, you can, but the better way to invest, or the smarter way to think about doing that, is to actually be buying when everybody else is selling. So when you have a look at this fear factor here, or this fear index, we're looking at it at 20. And so when you come and have a look at this over the longer term, these periods here are when we had like FTX crashes, when we had Luna being destroyed, and it's even lower than that. And so the only thing that's really happened in the market is that we have retail investors getting wrecked because Trump keeps putting negative sentiment into the market, and they're all selling, but all the whales are buying. So, when you think about it, if you're a buyer down here when there's maximum market fear, and if you're a seller up here when there's extreme greed, you're going to make money. If you're buying down here when there's maximum negative market sentiment, and selling up here when there's extreme greed, again, you're winning. And you're going to do that every single time. So this is, and you don't necessarily even need to sell, but what you need to be mindful of is, okay, I'm going to fill my moon bags here, stake my assets, and I'm going to earn all the way through this noise. And I may be able to take some profits here, or just continue, or look at starting to put some protection on my positions, and then come back, and then you're buying back in. So you're growing your bags, taking your profits, watching this market decline, and then you're starting to say you're buying here, you're buying here, you're buying here, you're buying here. That is what you need to be thinking about doing when you're trying to invest and grow your assets over the long term. And this reigns true for equities. It reigns true for Bitcoin. It reigns true for crypto. It's true for in all asset classes. Australian residential property, everything. You want to be looking at buying when people are fearful, and you want to be thinking about either selling or accumulating capital when people are really, really greedy. And what I mean by accumulating capital, it's like keeping cash on the sidelines. So accumulating capital so that when the next sell-off, or when the next time that fear gets to maximum levels, you can take advantage of that. Let's get into it and have a look at some charts. So this is the US dollar's had a big spike, so as it's bounced off this lows here. I'm still thinking it's going to be tracking between this 106 and 109 for the foreseeable future. We don't have any sort of indication that rates are going to be going up or down in the US. They're probably going to stay pretty stable. It's going to be interesting to see how inflation continues to have an impact there. In terms of USDT, the percentage of USDT, this is continuing to climb. So I was speaking about it on Monday, and we had it sort of down here, and I said, look, we had this spike up in USDT. We really don't want to see this spike up even further, but what this is telling us is that more and more people are selling their bags and transferring their capital to USDT. I don't think that all of this new USDT creation is from new people transferring fiat across into the crypto asset class. That's just not happening at all. Public markets. So again, like I mentioned, big sell-off here in the last couple of days, and big negative candle here. Same thing in the S&P 500, huge sell-off, and then also in the NASDAQ. So Trumpy, well done, mate. You've come out and really created some market volatility for us all, and the Russell 2000 is looking even worse. So Bitcoin. So again, we've seen a bit of a bottom. So we've seen the market sell off. This is on the daily, and it's right down. So, but we've seen it now come through, and that wicked into this 61.8. So let's have a look at it on a lower time frame. So we've seen it come down, bounce off here, come back up. So this was yesterday, and then we've had this sell-off overnight. This sell-off basically, this was when Trump was doing his speech, and then we've just had the market just sell straight off. Now, when you're having a look at this, we're definitely in a bit of a mini downtrend. So we see highs down here, lower lows, lower highs, some market consolidation, and then now we've got lower lows, lower high, lower low. Or this is now having like a double bottom potentially. But we've got to wait and see if this bounces off. So in the next couple of hours, so in the lower time frame, yeah. So we've really, hasn't even really tested this area. So I would suggest that we're probably going to see some market consolidation between the fib 50% mark and then the 618. But I'd be looking for some of those spot coins to be buying around here, where you're not going to see prices this cheap again in the bull run. Well, let's hope not. So if you're thinking about stacking some of your bags, if you missed out on buying Solana at $8, at $100, well, now it's about 137. So it's as cheap as what it's potentially going to be in a long, long time. Talking about Solana as well is having a look at the Solana chart. It's looking like it's consolidating here. It hasn't sold off as much as Bitcoin. Now, everyone is overly concerned about the huge unlocks that are coming up in Solana. So a lot of the VC firms that invested in Solana next month, a lot of that, there's like tens of millions, I think hundreds of millions of dollars of capital, which is going to be unlocked. So what that means is that these VC companies can then have the capacity to be able to then have those tokens and then sell them on the open market if they want to. Now, if you're a VC company and you wanted to sell your tokens before the unlock period happens, they have the capacity to be able to do that. They can do over-the-counter transactions with people and have legal contracts, so they can not necessarily liquidate their position from themselves, but they can sell those positions or basically enter into legal contracts to be able to allocate certain percentages or certain amounts of coins to other people. And then once the unlock period happens, that was when the actual just asset transfer will occur. I'm a buyer definitely at this level with Solana. I'm not overly concerned with what's happening there. Another really good trade that I talked about in the community is this one on CRV, and so this one's selling off again. We've got I bought in at I think about 41 cents or thereabouts, and we're targeting it at 80 cents. This is a long-term trade here, and it's had a sell-off like the rest of the market, but it hasn't sold off anywhere near as much. It's probably coming back into a bit of a buying zone. I have had 2 purchases in this. So we had an initial purchase at sort of 41 cents, and then the market dropped even further. I think I picked up another position at about 38 cents in here. And so that's another really nice trade on CRV, but we're going to be following this in the future. Now, with the end of February upon us, on Monday morning, I will be reporting on the Finsightful Wealth portfolio, going through all of the trades that PTS system has created over the month of February. Also giving you some feedback on the actual returns that we've created, and then I'm reviewing all of the spot holdings that we have there. That's it for me today. Happy Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be a sunny one. Enjoy it. I will catch up with you all on Monday morning.